Coming up on this month's edition of The Now, Naperville North's 50th anniversary, a look into North Theater's movie The Wedding Singer, current vaccine information, and your monthly sports update.
Good morning, Huskies, and welcome to this month's edition of The Now. From your Advanced Media Lab, I'm Peter Harrison.
And I'm Julia Putman. 50 years ago, Naperville North held its first classes. Grace Muckerheide takes a glimpse at the many changes the school has undergone throughout the last 5 decades.
Thanks, Julia. As the 2020-2021 school year comes to a close, Naperville North is celebrating a major milestone. The school turned 50 this year, and a lot has changed over the last half-century. Since it opened its doors in 1970, North has evolved to accommodate the growing needs of Husky students, athletes, and staff alike.
As the school continues to age, the early alumni have grown up and began families of their own, some even in Naperville. Many of these children are now students at North themselves, creating a second generation of Huskies walking the same halls as their parents. One of these students, Kalen Shaw, is the son of Sanjay Shaw, a former student at Naperville North from the class of 1986. Kalen Shaw describes why he feels so many former students are returning to the building to teach as adults.
You see a lot of our teachers have gone to North too, and come back to, coach, teach, all that kind of stuff. So I think them coming back just shows how great North is and just really builds the spirit of the school.
While the school spirit has stayed virtually the same throughout time, one of the major differences between the early years and now is the emphasis on college preparation through the curriculum. Mary Raisler, a former student herself, attended Naperville North between 1976 and 1980 before returning to the building as a math teacher in 1989. Raisler is very familiar with the academic atmosphere of our school and explains the shift of focus throughout the years.
What's changed, I think, kind of Naperville as I was here, I think there was a mix of kids that were going to go to college and kids that were like maybe after high school just going to get a job and work, like technical school or whatever. And we had a good, really strong community like work program where kids would leave half the day and take jobs. And I feel like that's changed. I feel like we've become more of, okay, we're college prep. We're definitely, more of our students are going to 4-year college after that. So that's changed a little bit in the student body.
Despite changes to the curriculum, North still maintains the same Husky spirit it had when it first opened its doors.
Even as the school ages and more changes occur, the core elements of Naperville North stay intact as the current students and staff members can continue to make NNHS history. From the North Star, this has been Grace Muckerheide. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Grace. And now for our monthly news brief with Beth Carlson.
Thanks, Peter. I'm Beth Carlson with the North Star News Desk, bringing you the news you need to know. Locally, as the weather turns and COVID-19 restrictions loosen, Naperville residents look towards the summer events planned for this year. Annual celebrations like the 4th of July fireworks and the Last Fling seem like they will happen as usual, and after being canceled last year, organizers of the Lollapalooza Music Festival announced that it will be taking place in late July in Chicago's Grant Park. However, many of the events may include COVID precautions, including Lollapalooza, which announced mandatory proof of a COVID vaccination or a negative COVID test from the prior 24 hours. On a state level, the Illinois population declined for the first time in 200 years, losing some 18,000 people over the last decade. As a result, Illinois will lose one representative in the U.S. House of Representatives. Only West Virginia and Missouri lost a greater percentage of residents than Illinois in the recent census, and only West Virginia lost more total residents. Illinois will now have 17 members in the U.S. House as opposed to 18. In national news, 25 states and Washington, D.C. have fully vaccinated at least 50% of eligible adults, marking an important step towards achieving herd immunity and a return to normalcy. In more vaccine news, the Pfizer vaccine was approved for kids ages 12 to 15. This opens up another 17 million eligible vaccine recipients, according to the Centers for Disease Control. Also this month, the CDC released new guidelines on masks, saying that fully vaccinated people do not need to wear masks outside or in some indoor settings.
COVID-19 has taken a toll on all of our lives this past year. It has caused many things to change and shut down, as well as making masks a part of our daily life. As vaccines continue to be distributed and more people receive their first and second shots, things are being changed. At Ace Hardware, a mask mandate is no longer required for those who are fully vaccinated. Owen O'Brien tells us about what this situation has been like for him.
It was definitely a weird adjustment the first day. I was kind of caught off guard because when the CDC came out with the new guidance, I wasn't expecting things to go mask optional so soon, but it's been a really nice change. Especially I started working at ACE and I hadn't seen a lot of my coworkers' faces before all of this, and so getting to see them without the mask on is definitely a change.
ACE isn't the only place updating their guidelines. There are many things to be excited for this summer.
I'm really excited to go to Lolla this summer. I think that was something I really missed out on last summer, just with everything getting canceled super last minute with the shutdown. And so I'm happy I'm going to get to experience that one last time just before everyone goes off to college.
As things with COVID-19 continue to improve, this is more likely to be seen in more places. With both the Moderna and Pfizer vaccines being approved for 12 to 16-year-olds, things are continuing to look up. This has been Nora Fitzgerald from the North Star.
Due to COVID restrictions this year, Naperville North Theater is producing a movie in place of a live show. Alyssa Eaton takes a look into the unique process of shooting The Wedding Singer.
Thanks, Peter. Although COVID precautions bring difficulties to the production of the spring musical, the show must go on. Over the past few months, theater's been putting together a musical that'll look a little bit different. Instead of being live and on stage, the musical, which is based on the 1998 rom-com The Wedding Singer, will be made into a movie. The movie will be shown in a rented movie theater space in June. Rachel Michael, a freshman in the musical, expresses her excitement for the hard work that was put into the production of this project.
It's super fun. We all worked really hard on it. It's kind of been our child project for the past couple months.
Having a different format has caused the tech crew to experience dramatic differences in their roles behind the scenes. Meiji DiBernardo, a junior in tech, talks about how these differences have shifted their roles this year.
My role is mainly carpentry, because that's what I do a lot. We don't have exactly some of the same jobs we have as last year, like stage manager or assistant stage manager, because it's all filming, and we don't need any managers for that.
Actors say the movie gives them creative freedom. Instead of being solely on stage, there have been scenes filmed in multiple locations, including downtown Naperville, office buildings, and the infamous tent in the small cafe. Senior Charlie Kennedy gives insight about his experiences acting in different locations.
I think it really adds because it gives you a sense of realism rather than everything being on the stage and kind of being limited to what you can do. It really makes you, as an actor, feel more in the moment, but then it also is more relatable for the audience.
Undoubtedly, this year's spring musical will be a night to remember. With its quick-witted writing and original movie sets, The Wedding Singer will be a show that cannot be missed. Be sure to grab your friends and family to watch the hard work that was put into being on the big screen. From the North Star, this has been Alyssa Eaton. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Alyssa. This month, public health officials announced that children aged 12 to 15 are eligible for COVID vaccinations. Faith Kwong investigates what this will look like for the students around the district.
Thanks, Julia. Almost 18 months after the COVID-19 outbreak began, over 150 million Americans have received at least one dose of the vaccine. The speed of creation and effectiveness of this vaccine is already going down in medical history. In the United States, the Pfizer vaccine has now been approved by the Food and Drug Administration for people ages 12 and up, and the CDC recommends getting the vaccine for adults and children as soon as possible.
Here's some more important info before you get your vaccine. If you are under the age of 18, you must bring a parent or guardian. You do not need to pay for the vaccine, and you do not need to have health insurance in order to get the vaccine.
Dr. Erin Shanks, a pediatrician at ABC Pediatrics, explains why it is important to get vaccinated for those who are eligible.
And in order to get back to some degree of normal living, we need to achieve what we call herd immunity. And in order to get to at least closer to herd immunity, we have to start vaccinating the kids. Also, kids can catch COVID, we know that, and they can spread COVID. And the vaccine is about 95% effective in adults. And that means that 5% of those adults that did their due diligence and got their vaccine could still get sick. And so one of the things that we have to do is vaccinate more people to protect the grandparents and the sick and the high risk.
Along with creating herd immunity, receiving the COVID-19 vaccine will aid in a return to normal life and safe living conditions. Not only will we feel confident to not carry the disease to high-risk individuals, we will also be able to participate in activities as we once did. Dr. Shanks elaborates on this.
So I think that getting our kids vaccinated will allow them to continue to go to class. They will allow them to continue to go to their sports, their extracurricular activities, even things like your school play.
Vaccines will be available for ages 12 and up at the Community Vaccine Clinic at the DuPage County Government Complex in Wheaton and in other sites around Illinois. While walk-ins are welcome, registering before you arrive will save time. For more information, visit dupagehealth.org. From the North Star, this has been Faith Kwong. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Faith. We now go to Maggie Berry with your monthly sports update.
Hey Huskies, and welcome back to your monthly sports update. At Naperville North, many spring sports are approaching the end of their season, such as boys volleyball, baseball, lacrosse, wrestling, and softball. Boys baseball lost their last regular season game against Central with a final score of 3-2 on Saturday, May 29th. Boys lacrosse won in their last game of the season against Central with a final score of 18-3 on Wednesday, May 26th. Softball won against Central 2-1 in the last game before the playoffs on Saturday, May 29th. They will compete at regionals on Wednesday, June 2nd.
Congratulations to girls water polo on their undefeated 29-0 season and for winning state last Saturday.
Good luck in the playoffs, Huskies. Back to you guys.
And that's all for this month's edition of The Now. Be sure to follow the North Star on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and check out our website at nnhsnorthstar.com. From the North Star, this has been Peter Harrison.
And Julia Putman. Have a great summer, Huskies, especially to our resilient seniors.